I'm just going to go to this store right here. I'm just going to search for samplers. SP, Akai, Korg Electribe, Teenage Engineering, the KOs, the Polyans, Native Instruments, Electron. We got Sonicware, great company coming out. The Black Box, Novation Circuit, more stuff from Sonicware, Polyan, more stuff from Electribe. You got a bunch of samplers, right? Now you got Native Instruments as well that you haven't heard from in a while. There's nothing coming out. But apart from Native Instruments, where's the competition for Akai? That's my question. Where are the companies putting out great samplers? You know, because from what I see is that all these companies now, they have this sampler that, to me, when you compare it to Akai, to an MPC, they feel like toys most of the time. That's what they feel. They have one or two great things about it, but that's it. Like, you cannot compare most of these samplers to an MPC, period. There's just, they're good at one thing. Like the 404 right here is great at effects, right? You got some really nice filtering in there, some other effects that are pretty cool that you would get to the 404 for it. The 303 compressor is pretty cool. I like to work with that. But then the step sequencer, it's you know, it's whatever. It's not that great. What else do you have in here? The chopping is not that great. I mean, if you compare it to an MPC, it's just not that great. There's literally no competition. And that, to me, that's my problem, is that I've mentioned this in the past in other videos, is that there's always, it seems like every other 2 months, there's a new synth coming out. Last year was amazing. There's a bunch of synths coming out. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but there's always new synths coming out. But when it gets to the samplers community, there's just almost nothing extraordinary coming out. And Akai is, honestly, in my opinion, as a music producer, they're the only ones putting out like professional samplers. You know, it's great at chopping, it's great at sequencing, it's great at sampling as well. Then you have all the pluses inside it. I'm not even talking about plugins or anything. I'm just, these three things to me are the most important things, which is how it samples, how it chops, and how it sequences. And if you look at a bunch of these samplers out there, they all lack on one or two of these things. They're just not complete. They feel like prototypes of what is to become a great sampler, but they always stop. I mean, I'm going to go through some of these brands. Electron, they're great, but what are they great at? They're great at sequencing. They're probably better than Akai. I kind of prefer the sequencer from Electron. I was playing with the analog rhythm, and it was just an amazing workflow. I just loved it, and wish that Akai would adopt some of that into the step sequencer. And I know there's a step sequencer in here. It does not compare to the tactile functions of an actual Electron product. Electron are great at sequencing, but when it gets to sampling and chopping, super basic. You know, you can record it in, and then there's like this little chopping thing that is just purely nonsense, in my opinion. And that's it. Get to other samplers. The 404, great at filtering, at effects. Sequencing, it's what it is. We all know it's not that great. And then chopping, also not that great. I mean, I come from, again, I'm comparing this to the MPC. If you've never worked with an MPC, go and try it and see how many types of chops you can make, the ways you can sample into the machine, the programs. Once you create a program with chops, you can copy chops around non-destructively. There's just a bunch of ways that you can treat a sample and treat a chop. Go to other machines. I don't know. people from Sonicware, I love these guys. I'm not knocking any brand, okay? Sonicware, they're great as well. They have great sequencers similar to the Electron products. But once you get to the functionality, sometimes the workflow can get a bit stiff, and get to other brands. What other brands do we have? There are almost not even that many brands out there for samplers. Electribe, I mean, I've never worked with one. I don't hear great things. These Teenage Engineering, this thing is cool to carry in your pocket. We're talking about professional samplers. The Novation Circuit, I don't know. I've never worked with it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to take away what Akai has. I mean, the Electron Octatrack feels like a great sampler, but again, 8 voices only, 8 tracks only. It just, the amount of limitations to me, it just feels ridiculous. And I know that a lot of people talk about limitations being as the great thing they can get creativity off of. I understand that completely, but I come from an XL, right? Already had 32 voices at the time. I'm all for limiting myself to parameters and stuff like that, working with the old ones. I love that. I love working with all these machines. I love working with the 404. I love working with the Sonicware. There it is, the sample track, also a great little sampler. Probably one of the most portable samplers out there, actually. Really small, really great to use, but a few things in there also needed some improvement, but great little sampler. I love working with all these samplers. They're great. And I tell this to people on all my videos. If you try different samplers, you'll come across different workflows that will help you to get better at sampling. So trying different workflows will open up your mind to new ways of sequencing, sampling, chopping, and all of that stuff. I feel it. I feel people are a bit frustrated with Akai. I don't really get why, because again, to me, there are no competitors when it gets to Akai. Could they improve the quality of certain things? Absolutely. But I can't see myself getting mad at a company that's on the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? Like, it's Akai, man. Like, great sequencing, great sampling, great chopping. One of the best chopping. I don't think anyone comes close to the way you can chop things here. If we need to be mad at someone, we need to be mad at the competition, because the competition are the ones that they're not bringing any heat to the table. And that's what I feel about sampling and samplers nowadays, right? With regards to the MPC, man, I would love to see, my dream MPC would be a certain marriage between Akai and Electron because of that workflow with the step sequencer. And I loved the analog filters inside of the analog rhythm as well. So I would love to see a sampler like that coming out from Akai. When it gets to the output, some people were complaining about that. I don't look at that as much nowadays because I have external gear, and even if I'm working with my 60, which has, my opinion, a more warm sound, more saturated sound, I always use my external gear. I always run it through the analog heat, through my compressors, EQs. So it doesn't matter really, because I have to run it through the external gear to get more warmth. I don't know. That's the word anyway. Would I love Akai to change the outputs on the back and make them better? Of course. If it's going for better, why not? Let's do it. I'm all for that. I would love to see companies come out and fight between the top spot. And Native Instruments, maybe this year they're coming out with something. And I'm very excited to see new samplers come out. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I just want other companies to come out with products. I mean, why doesn't Roland just come out with a 404 and a really nice step sequencer on the side like Electron products? Or just a nice little sequence with a play, stop, pause, or whatever, you know? Why don't these other companies come out with something similar, why doesn't Electron come out with another sampler as well? Let's see what the future brings. And to be honest, if these companies don't look out for themselves, Akai is going to come for them. It's going to come for their customers. The way I see it, and this is something I've been saying for more than a year now, is that other companies need to wake up. Wake up. There's a market and people buy a lot into gear. Just make sure that what you put out is actually a competitor to Akai, because this is on the top of the food chain. This is who you're, against. That's my take. That's what I wanted to say about these new beautiful MPCs and just the world of samplers, right? I would love to see other companies come in and just have better sequencers, better chopping functions, just better overall, instead of coming out with machines that almost feel like a prototype of a professional sampler. But it is what it is. And again, I just feel super spoiled at the moment for having all this to work with, and I get to pick and choose what I want to do. That I'm just so happy, to be honest. I have no complaints, but if I am to get a complaint in, this is it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, the like. Peace out. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.